Welcome to Peace Drops for the Great Green Wall. My name is David Fletcher, and I'm very happy to be the MC for today's program. The Great Green Wall is an initiative to plant a wall of trees from Senegal to Djibouti, 15 kilometers wide, 8,000 kilometers long. And this project, Peace Drops for a Great Green Wall, is a project of the Brahma Kumaris Environmental Initiative. And the purpose is to give our support and send loving energy and peaceful energy and powerful energy for the success of the Great Green Wall and everyone working on that project in the Sahel region. The Great Green Wall is not just a tree planting project, not just for reforestation. It's about building back communities, making communities stronger and more resilient, supporting livelihoods of people in those communities in a sustainable way, and really working with people to create peace and happiness within their communities. This particular initiative is to spend an hour, the second Sunday of each month, to learn more about the Great Green Wall, the wonderful initiatives that communities and governments and civil society organizations are doing across the countries that are involved in the Great Green Wall, but also to lend our own support, our moral support, our good thoughts, our loving energy from our hearts and from our spirits to support the success of the Great Green Wall. It's our belief that if we nourish these good intentions and send out these positive vibrations from our hearts and our minds, it will support the success and the peace that's being built in the Sahel region. This is our fifth edition of Peace Drops for a Great Green Wall. As I said, we're doing it every month. And we've had people from many different countries who've already joined in and been involved in this project. Every month, we focus on 2 or 3 different values that we've heard and we've seen are important for the success of the Great Green Wall. We've talked, of course, about peace, but also about cooperation and respect and courage and compassion, and the importance of unity and togetherness. And today, we're focusing on 2 values, patience and perseverance. And I think these are both values that we all know are very important to the success of any project, but particularly an endeavor as big and courageous and visionary, I think, as the Great Green Wall. I had the opportunity, my name is David Fletcher. I had the opportunity to live and work in Nigeria many years ago and learned a little bit of Hausa. And one of the sayings in Hausa is, Katashi Seyananzan Tamakeka. Take that first step, and then others will help you. But more importantly, the Supreme, the Divine, will help you. Katashi Seyananzan Tamakeka. And I think that's one of the elements we have to keep in mind in terms of perseverance and moving forward, is we still need to make effort. We need to make those first steps. But I think others have said, you know, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step. And we just need to continue with the determination to put one foot in front of the other. And it can make a difference given some time. There's also a Hausa expression, Da yayafi, Kogi Kanchika, a river fills, with small showers of river fills. And again, I think it emphasizes that sense of perseverance and keeping on and taking the small steps, the small efforts in a continuous, ongoing way that'll make a difference. I often think of women I know and have met and have seen on the African continent and the great perseverance they have to provide for themselves and their children and their families, not only for today, but thinking about the future and into the future as well. Patience is another important value, virtue, and we can, create that energy and share it with others so they have the patience to be able to move forward. One of the expressions I've often heard in Hausa is ahankali. Go slowly, take your time, be accurate in what you're doing. Don't rush, because often the problems we encounter is because we're rushing or trying to do something in a way that we think will make a difference. And it usually works if we go ahankali, a little bit slowly, but be very sure where we're placing our steps as we go forward. So slowly, ahankali and hakori, patience, are very similar. Having patience is going slowly with determination and making sure we're accurate in every step. And it's that sense of just taking the time. Good things will happen in their own time if inside ourselves we're not trying to rush and we're having the patience that we can wait for good things to happen. And during that time, we'll be calm and we'll be relaxed and we'll ready to receive what is in the store for us. So patience and perseverance, two special virtues, values for today. And we'll hope you'll learn something about those and be willing to bring that energy into yourself for all that you're involved with, whether it's directly with the Great Green Wall or not, but then also take some of that powerful energy and send it out to those who are working directly on the Great Green Wall to support them in their work. I hope you enjoy the next 45 minutes together. Thanks for being here.
ala kay misule de ci kan farmo do hare isi du dumizan kan
har zuru go giringa watu kul kan har kan watu kul bonguno go bata mai raga sinji da harotun direct kal foira.
D'ici 2050, la population subsaharienne est susceptible de passer de 850 millions à 1,7 milliard d'habitants, constituant ainsi presque 7% de la population mondiale. Ces prédictions aboutiront à une demande alimentaire croissante. Un tel défi sera énorme, surtout dans un contexte de variabilité et de changement climatique. Au Niger et dans les pays du Sahel, l'insécurité alimentaire est un problème endémique qui a été aggravé par les effets de la pandémie de Covid-19.
En tant que stratégie de développement agricole, et donc le PASEC est un outil, un instrument d'opération de l'initiative 3N. Les Nigériens nourrissent les Nigériens. Le projet a pour objectif l'augmentation de la productivité agricole et des revenus, mais aussi le renforcement de la résilience des systèmes agricoles et des populations face au changement climatique.
Nous sommes sur le site d'exploitation agricole du groupement Zamzam, qui est exploité par une quinzaine de femmes. La production est accrue et elle est diversifiée. Donc c'est le principe en tout cas d'intervention à travers l'agriculture intelligente face au climat. Elles se sont adaptées au changement climatique.
Il lokoli da dai ha mai kan goyi bandan wari ke kir magai kai da bar te seda afamo da dinya hango kaloga da dimi zan kan sir se kir ba ma dai no rijara di gandai.
Et donc dans le cadre de la mise en œuvre, notamment aider à une meilleure gestion de la fertilité des eaux et des sols pour améliorer donc la productivité agricole, mais aussi pour créer les conditions dans le cadre de l'agriculture intelligente au climat, des techniques et technologies qui permettent non seulement l'accroissement de la production agricole, mais aussi la résilience des systèmes agricoles.
Les demi-lignes, on les fait parce que quand il pleut beaucoup, ça retient l'eau, ça empêche l'inondage du village. Le deuxième point, on fait l'ensemencement des arbres, puis ça retient aussi l'eau.
Ayo di ga sina ka kan da sai ba funa ci kan ana formo dogonan bise ana dumunize dogonan di ise han fo koyne anino bon fere da almane kure do hare igudu dobo
abin da idi kan aran yau goyo akan di sai na fugumo wato kai isi bai ani zai isi goy
mutta je kien kan da yi te sedekci ma goy da disajo da ma sajo in ci iba funa da disajo din almano wana kala so di bubarin ture wi da ngidar be kan gon ga nguno kanga.
Perseverance. We all know what perseverance means and its importance to the realization of the Great Green Wall of Africa. Perseverance is doing something to realize a goal and learning from difficulties and delays along the way in making things happen. We see the beauty in the goal of a great green wall for ourselves and for generations to come. We are determined. We are the light for others to carry on. We celebrate each tree planted, each act of giving time, effort, resources to make the Great Green Wall happen. We share our joy, good wishes, and good feelings for everyone who thinks about and does something to contribute to the Great Green Wall as an individual, a family, a community, and as the whole region of the Sahel and the Sahara. We persevere. Our purpose is clear. The Great Green Wall, bringing so much to the souls of this region: food, shelter, water. We are disciplined in our efforts to make it happen. We recognize the value of time and effort and keep moving forward in our aim to create the Great Green Wall. Hole by hole, tree by tree, we persevere. We are tireless. The project is big, and our hearts are filled with love for the task. We make things happen with joy and companionship, and are satisfied with what we do each day to move us forward. We persevered in the past, we are persevering now, and we will continue to persevere for the love of the idea of the Great Green Wall of Africa. We are patiently doing the inner work and willing to stay the course. We plan our work, we work our plan, and our success comes through our perseverance. We have looked beyond the current situation facing us and understand the long-term consequences of our actions today. We are building a great green wall of prosperity and food security and community spirit. Our goal is ahead of us, just a little longer, a little more, and a lot of determination. We persevere. We are steadfast and enthusiastic about keeping our eyes open to the beauty and prosperity each tree brings to building a new future for our community and our region. We maintain hope and stamina. We face challenges and difficulties as tests that help us learn more about ourselves and the ecosystem of which we are part of creating. We cooperate with nature, and nature cooperates with us. We are determined, and we encourage ourselves and each other with thoughts of walking forward together in a beautiful green world. It is already happening. We will attain success. We are attaining success. We have been successful already. We keep on keeping on. We persevere. We see ourselves as the ones who help bring the Great Green Wall into reality for generations to come. We are the ones who persevere no matter what and experience sweet success. And from Mandela, it always seems impossible until it is done. We persevere.
As a girl, I walked along the shores of Lake Chad, one of the largest lakes in Africa. It went on forever, touching 4 countries, Chad, Niger, Cameroon, and my own country, Nigeria. It seemed like an ocean to me at the time, with 30 million people relying on its bounty. Sadly, today, as you fly over Lake Chad, you won't see much. It's a fraction of its original size. 90% of this freshwater basin has dried up, and with it, millions and millions of livelihoods, farmers, fisherfolk, and our market women. Climate change takes yet another victim. Now add another extreme weather event, the Harmattan. What was once a short 3-month season of dust and wind, one farmer told me the dust storms are coming earlier and bigger every year. A single storm can wipe out an entire year's crop overnight. The human and ecological cost, more jobs lost, hunger, families displaced, a perfect storm for crushing poverty, and even more, sadly, violence. And so, it may be a challenge to grow food today in the Lake Chad Basin, but it has also become a fertile ground for extremists to take root, wreaking havoc on peace. Sadly, touch down anywhere in the world, and you'll hear more tragic stories of climate devastation. Droughts, floods, wildfires, lives and livelihoods in jeopardy, tipping towards catastrophe. And yet, despite it all, I still have hope in our human family. And you might ask why. It's our capacity for human endeavor to survive against all odds. One that created the extraordinary promise of the UN Paris Agreement and its power to drive the 17 Sustainable Development Goals for people and for planet. We know that the promise of Paris aims to limit global heating to 1.5 degrees to ensure that we survive as a human family. To get there, we know exactly what we must do. We must decarbonize the global economy by 2050 by way of halving the emissions in this decade. We must make coal history, with coal phased out in rich countries by 2030 and in other countries by 2040. The G20 produces 80% of all greenhouse gas pollution, and so they too must, these 20 global leaders, take responsibility and lead. We must stop spending trillions subsidizing fossil fuels, clogging the lungs of our people and destroying forests and oceans. And we must provide the resources that are needed for a just, green and blue transition. We know that these are all essential ingredients to fulfill the Paris Agreement. Now, try to reimagine with me what this journey to net zero emissions could look like through another lens. One that puts our focus on investing in people to reach their potentials while protecting our home, planet Earth. Decarbonization, a powerful vehicle for climate action, but also for delivering on the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. Let me give you an example of what this looks like. The Great Green Wall, an idea born in Africa over a decade ago at the edge of the Sahara. It aims to stop desertification and restore 100 million hectares of degraded lands from Senegal in the west to Djibouti in the Horn of Africa. It's an ambitious plan to plant 100 million trees, improve water harvesting and the use of land. Clearly, the climate benefits will be enormous. But it's about much more than keeping dust in the desert. It's about creating a green economic corridor for more than 500 million people. Men, women, children. One that builds local value chains, strengthens economies, and fosters a young, fast-growing workforce. And as an economic opportunity grows, hope for the future becomes a reality in millions of lives, and the space for terrorism, extremism, recedes. The Great Green Wall inspires me because it is a journey of the human potential to amplify the deep knowledge of indigenous people who survive and thrive in harmony with nature, potential to harness technology to connect and to bridge the renewable energy divide, especially for women and for girls, the potential to transform food systems in ways which make people and planet healthier. So what's holding us back? What will it take for this potential to become a shared, lived reality? It would be easy for me to say money, so let me say it. Money, more money. It's a big part of the solution. We need to make good now on the handshake that we had at Paris of $100 billion. And that was promised annually. Rich countries, let me say here and now, we are looking at you for the unfinished business. You must step up, and you must do it urgently. The other ingredient we need is solidarity. Sometimes that seems to be in fairly short supply, but we do know it exists. After all, it's solidarity that forged the Paris Agreement. It's solidarity that got us the Montreal Protocol. And there you see that the ozone layer is saved and our world is healing. But we need to rekindle that spirit, and we need to do that now. It's not too late, but the window of opportunity is closing, which brings me back to you. You're the reason that I have hope. Time and time again, we've seen that when people raise their voices, that chorus becomes too urgent and too loud for leaders to ignore. That chorus for bold climate action is growing, but it's in fits and starts. Climate change doesn't pause, and neither must we. Now, last I checked, every single person in this room and all those watching online, teachers, presidents, shareholders, chief executives, scientists, employees, mums and dads, everyone on Earth is a citizen on this planet. So now's the time to stand up. With the courage of your convictions, raise your voices yet again and demand our leaders to take action on the promise of a 1.5-degree world. Friends, It's time to make some serious noise to transform our world. Right now, there's another young girl, maybe it's Kolo, maybe it's Aisha, maybe it's Fatima, walking on the shores of Lake Chad. She's looking out and wondering what her future may hold. Will it be an ocean of opportunity? It could be. Or will it be a wasteland of dust as far as the eyes can see? She's asking that question of all leaders who hold her future in their hands. And she's also asking it of all of us here today and around the world. The time for real action has come. The choice is ours. Individually, collectively, what will you do? Thank you.
For the next few moments, let's cultivate the virtue of patience. Take a deep breath and relax. Breathe in through your nose. Hold it. And out through your mouth. Again, in through your nose. Hold it. And out through your mouth. Once more, in, hold, and out. Put any thoughts and challenges from out there in the world aside. And just take a moment to go inside. Relax. For this moment, don't let yourself get caught up in any upheavals. Recognize there are responsibilities and things to do, but put those aside just for a moment. We don't need to react to everything. We don't need to allow ourselves to be controlled by all external situations. When we are not reactive, we are patient. We are sensible. Patience and slow thinking is not sluggishness or disregard to what is happening around us. It represents more controlled thinking. We will be able to discern accurately, and ultimately we'll be able to decide quickly and with confidence. When we allow our mind just to react, it quickly fills with opinions, thoughts, and alternatives, and we're more apt to make mistakes and actually waste time. To take a moment and to go inside and to connect with our inner intelligence in the company of silence is to harness a superpower, the power of patience. With patience, you can see life's events unfolding in front of you in a very unique way, without interruption or disruption. It takes strength to live by one's values, when the world around you is trying its best to send you in another direction. The virtue of patience keeps us calm and cool. Patience enables us to accept that everything happens at its own time. We do not control the drama around us. This is being sensible. And when we are sensible, tolerant, and content, we will experience peace and happiness. And we will be able to donate that peace and happiness to others. That is the power of being patient. Like a farmer who plants a seed and waits patiently for it to germinate and grow until it's time to harvest. The power of patience is what can nourish us to remain peaceful and calm and be successful now and in the future. Om Shanti.
On 2nd May 2022, the UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres urged the international community to fully invest to help impoverished Niger fight jihadist insurgents threatening the government in Niamey and the neighboring countries. Guterres acknowledged, however, that the G5 Sahel that brings together Mauritania, Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger, and Chad has been weakened by the coup d'etat that took place in some of the neighbors, referring to Mali and Burkina Faso in the last 2 years. Several Western countries support Niger in its struggle against groups linked to Al-Qaeda and the Islamic State, notably France and the United States, which have military bases in Niamey and the Agadez region in the north.
UN chief on Tuesday visited a displaced people's camp in Niger on the 4th day of a trip to West Africa delayed by the crisis in Ukraine. Guterres met with several dozens of displaced people and refugees from Niger, Mali and Burkina Faso in a school courtyard at the camp. He appealed for humanitarian and military aid for an impoverished country battling jihadist insurgents. You can count on me to call on the international community to provide strong support for Nigerian army so that it is better able to protect you. Niger, Burkina Faso and Mali are struggling with a jihadist insurgent that erupted in northern Mali in 2012 and spread to its neighbors 3 years later. In the case of Niger, the country is facing a dual security crisis. We are aware of the complexity of crises around the world, but the situation in Sahel is also complex. The complexity is characterized by insecurity, but also by climate change, which has an impact on displaced population and the host population. It is for these reasons that we ask Mr. Secretary General to continue to make our situation one of your priorities.
Monsieur le Secrétaire Général,
aside from the thousands of internally displaced people, Niger is struggling from food shortages as a result of drought and the impact of jihadist attacks on village farming. More than 4.4 million people are likely to experience food insecurity by July, according to the authorities.
I become still, only aware of my thoughts. I collect the energy of my thoughts. I am determined to hold one thought, just one thought in my mind, turning inwards and holding on to this one thought. I am a peaceful soul. As this thought transforms into a feeling of peace, I go deeper into the stillness, into silence. I detach from nature of judgment, my habits of criticizing, of lack of involvement, the things I think is my personality. And I begin to feel my benevolent self. I step away from the movement of my thoughts and the movement of my understanding. I am just tuned in to my peaceful nature. I am a peaceful soul, a peaceful being. This peace I am experiencing right now is my true personality. I remain in this awareness. I am a soul, peaceful, quiet, a point, just a tiny point of light, sitting in the middle of the forehead. I am a point of light, radiating peace out into the atmosphere. I remain in this deep serenity of peace. In this deepest peace, I radiate multiple drops of peace to the Sahel and to the different tribal peoples that inhabit the lands of the Sahel. I am a peaceful soul. The more I remain in this awareness, the deeper the peace I experience, and the greater the magnitude of peace that radiates from me. I see that peace forming a blanket of protection over the Sahel and its inhabitants. Peace reigns from my eyes, from my heart, and from my whole being. I begin to feel these souls are experiencing this peace. Each one is feeling the peace and feeling that each belong to each other. There is no separation. All are peaceful. We are all brother souls. Peace, divine peace, unity, complete unity, and peace in eternity. Only peace, natural peace. I can remain in the state of peace forever with all of you peaceful souls in the Sahel, forever with you. But I must return to this moment, leaving millions of drops of peace on all of you and on the region as well. Om Shanti.
Thank you for being part of today's reflections and meditations as part of Peace Drops for a Great Green Wall. Over the last 45 minutes or so, we've spent some time learning about the Great Green Wall Initiative, but more importantly, learning about patience and perseverance. Two important values, two important qualities we can all nurture within ourselves. That if we bring them to our thoughts, our words, and our actions in the world, they will make a difference. They'll make everything we do more successful. And if we wish patience and perseverance for people working on the Great Green Wall Initiative, we will give them more energy and more opportunities for success as well. So thank you for being here today and spending that time to nurture patience and perseverance within yourself, and generously sharing that energy out into the world, where people who need it at this time, who need peace and love and good wishes at this time for all they're dealing with, will be able to benefit from your own good wishes. So thank you for being part of this hour. We now have 5 episodes online on our YouTube channel of Peace Drops for a Great Green Wall. And if you'd like to nurture some other values like compassion and resilience, respect and togetherness, I think are some of the other values that we've worked with, please watch those other episodes and join us the second Sunday of next month to be involved in our next episode of Peace Drops for a Great Green Wall. Thank you. Om Shanti. Now go day.